go back to where it all began. 17, then we started a band.
Music You Can See at Winter NAMM, and I am here with two members of Fanny Walked the Earth, June Millington Brie, and your sister, Jean.
Jean wasn't able to make it today, but she's in here in spirit, I can tell you that.
Awesome. I'm tickled pink because June and Jean were very close to my sister who left us in 2009, who was an artist. And
we loved her.
Yeah,
so
and
much.
she told me all about you and your sister Jean, and oh, they're musicians, but until I actually Googled you and found out who you really were, that just blew my mind. She never talked about your legacy. Oh, they were just my two sisters that are friends of mine.
Yeah.
The first time I got to see you and Jean play, you came all the way out from Massachusetts to play my sister's last birthday party a month before she passed. And I was like, it was awesome to see. I think your nephew played drums.
Yeah, it was important that we do that.
It was
to us, for sure.
Yeah, it meant a lot, and I think there was, probably 300 people there, and it was her last birthday party. Okay, so talk about last night. She rocks. Wow, you were there honored with Melissa Etheridge and
Pat
Benatar,
the B-52,
and
Cindy Wilson, yes.
Talk about it. You were the very first, I guess, real pop, mainstream, all-women's band.
It was the first all-girl band to get signed to a major record label to do a full LP.
Wow,
Yeah,
and
that's the description.
1960-ish?
69, right, June?
69-ish, yeah.
Wow, wow.
So we're of the 60s generation, and that's a really important point, because the 60s informed us, and right at the 60s is where there was a little crack where these little girls in high school could, work our fannies off and make something happen.
So we met in 1966, and we played in a band for a couple of years called the Svelts. That band moved down to the Bay Area, changed some members, moved down to LA, turned into Fanny, and at that point I was not in the band when they were signed, but I rejoined the band much later, it seems much later at the time. A couple of years later we joined the band, and altogether we did 5 albums.
5 albums, and now you are a power trio called Fanny Walks the Earth.
Yes.
Walked the Earth.
And it's important that we walk the earth. That's why, hence the name, because really our legacy starts in the beginning of the 60s and is stretching into the future with, yes, there we are, with the Institute for the Musical Arts. We're passing it
Right,
on.
so we
Wow,
want to talk
we're
about
recording
IMA a
albums.
little bit in a second.
Yes.
The interesting thing was, my sister was a staunch feminist, and the first women's music she introduced me to, I think, was like 1980. She brought Jane Oliver album to my mom and gave it to my mom for like Christmas, and then she introduced the family to Holly Near, artist you've worked with, right?
I produced her records.
Wow.
I played in your band.
Well, so not only were you the first all-female major label signed band, that was the birth of the women's music movement, correct?
Yeah, around 75 was Chris Williamson and Meg Christian was the genesis of it, the ground zero spot. And it just was crazy. It just blew from
But
that.
those were artists that you had to have influenced.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you don't consider yourself the movement of that women's. You don't.
Well, we were the progenitors of women in rock, I feel. We were really in
got
that
it.
DNA.
And they
I
took
just
it a
happened-
step further.
Well, no, they started their own thing, but it incorporated what we had already contributed, because you couldn't escape that at all. I
Right.
mean, Chris Williamson was a huge Fanny fan, but I didn't know that when she asked me to play on her album Changer and the Change, which was a huge album and still is.
Right.
So that's important. In other words, our DNA and our karmic arcs are intertwined. And for me, having been at the beginning of Women in Rock and women's music through Chris, I'm really the only one who embodies that in my body.
Right.
So I'm trying to pass it on as fast and efficiently as I can, and Fanny Walked the Earth is part of that.
Right, and I see your influence even with people like Susan Tedeschi, Derek Trucks' wife.
Hey, listen, the bands that followed us.
The Indigo Girls.
The Runaways, the Go-Go's, the Bangles. Some of those women joined us on our new record.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
You got
we
to
got
work
Cherie
with.
Curry from the Runaways.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have Kathy Valentine from the Go-Go's.
Oh, wow.
All 3 Bangles. And they came to support us when I said, hey, June, Jean, and I are doing a new record. They said, we're there.
Wow.
Yeah. and you know, it's an honor.
That's how it works. That's how it works.
No.
Women supporting women, man.
Absolutely. And your biography came out about a couple years ago.
Yeah, and I'm working on the second one actually,
working on the
and
second one.
I'm doing the audio book of the first biography right now.
What I want to discuss is IMA. As long as I've known about you, that was what my sister told me, is that her two friends ran a music conservatory, I guess.
Nonprofit institute for women and girls in music.
Right, and then you were out in Northern California, and then I think you moved to Massachusetts.
Yes, right outside of Northampton. We actually, what happened was we were able to buy property, and that changed everything.
Right,
So
you
we
were,
have,
wow. So
we
you
have
your own-
25 acres, a house, 2 barns, 2 recording studios, yurts, and bunk houses for the girls that camp. We do 5 camps a year, 2
camps.
preteen, 2 teen, and a recording camp, plus programming during the year. So it's a big deal.
Wow.
It's a little bit under the radar, and it's a
Why is that?
Because first of all, you don't want to grow it too fast.
Oh, you purposely have kept it
Well, you kind of have to do it intentionally and mindfully. In order to do that, you can't do it too fast because we're passing on to the next generations. And so we had to choose the ground, plant the seeds really well, nurture, water, make sure it has light and all that kind of stuff. So 87 was when we got our 501c3.
Okay.
Now it's 2017 and we have this place that's ready for more action, in the sense that, you know, people can come and use the recording studios, they can come to camps, they can do shows at our place, but, you know, we have girls, preteen and teen in the summers. You don't want just anybody stopping
I never
into
thought of that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we put a lot of white light around us
have
and
to.
what we're doing.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
intentionally.
Absolutely.
The rest of the year, sure, anybody can come to any of the programs and do workshops and do shows, and I believe I have to go now to go see Skunk Baxter.
Yes, I was
Yes.
going to say, I think it's almost time to go.
So
Yeah.
Skunk Baxter is calling them. They've got to leave. Thank you, Brie. Thank you, June. Saying hi to Jean for me. Music You Can See, Winter NAMM.
When Skunk calls, you listen.